I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna kick life in the ass and be like, yo, you threw off my groove. Good afternoon. I was intending the next video to be a tutorial about this Samsung DeX pad, but then with the whole WWDC 2019 Apple Keynote, I'm like, nah, we gotta roast this one. Oh, shall we start with Tim Cook's annoying voice? There's a lot of things to cover. Like this whole thing was like 2 hours long, this whole conference. And at first I watched a condensed version, like, you know, the WWDC in 13 minutes. And I'm like, all right, this might suffice. But then there's like little nuances that I didn't want to miss. So I went through and watched more of it in more detail. Secondly, with the whole Apple games or whatever the hell they're calling it, I am very surprised that they actually opened it up with compatibility for the Xbox One and PS4 controllers. That, number one, got a really good response out of the crowd, and number two, I'm like, wait, Apple is like playing well with other people? That makes no sense. What's beeping? Oh, my thermometer. That's weird. Their whole haptic chimes for the Apple Watch. Dude, I think that a notification tone should be 1 second long or less. This was like birds chirping and like there was a... I'm like, oh, okay, maybe, but then it went... Too long! No! It needs to be one little... And that's it for a notification tone, especially one that you hear every hour on the hour. No, I seriously doubt many people will use the chirpity, whatever. Next, they're like, hey guys, we can have independent apps on the watch that don't require an iOS companion app. And I'm like, that's cool. We've had it for a while, but I'm glad you guys are finally, you know, experiencing this for yourself. You apparently can now stream audio on your watch or from your watch. They didn't go into a whole heck of a lot of detail on whether or not the watch uses a Wi-Fi connection or internet or otherwise to stream music from the internet to the watch and then to your ears, or if they're streaming it, if they're using like the phone to handle the internet part of it and then streaming that to the watch and then streaming that to your headphones. That part they didn't really explain very thoroughly. Jason mouth farted. But as of yet, you still cannot stream music directly from stored music that is locally stored on the wearable. My watch band keeps loosening. But Samsung's can. That 4 gigs of memory though, dude, it works. Next, they made this huge deal out of Apple Health and being able to track trends. And I'm like, you guys couldn't do trends before? I mean, Samsung's been doing, focus. Samsung has been doing this for a while. Tracking trends and blah, 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 blah. Now, these are steps, of course. I don't know if they just said trends. And it showed like a couple of different metrics, I guess. But if you look, you can find trends for your heart rate measurements. Like we've had it. Ain't nothing new. Ain't nothing new. Samsung Health has had it for a long time. It's like Android's been like blazing this trail, and then Apple comes behind. Hey everybody, look at me. No, we did it first. We blazed the trail. We did the hard work. We stuck our necks out. We took the risks, and we pushed forward. They're like, no, Apple, no. Oh, money? Okay, hey, look what we can do now. No, it doesn't work. It shouldn't work that way, but for Apple it does, just because they've got way too much power. But nextly, if that's even a word, they came up with hearing protection. Do you really need hearing protection for like your watch to be like, hey bro, it's a little loud in here, man? Like, are you going to, when you go to a concert, it's going to tell you, hey, listening to music of this level for extended periods of time can be bad for your hearing. You're like, yeah, I know. That's why I came. That's why I'm here. To listen to loud, nice music. Nice is subjective, but you get the idea. Oh, when you go to band practice or something, what are you gonna do? Tell me, oh, drummer, no, I need you to stop. Bassist, no, quit. Oh, guitarist, yeah, no. Look, hey, my watch tells us that we're being too loud, so in order to protect our hearing, we gotta stop right now. The out of here. No, nobody was gonna use it. It's like, and they even have this on other watches besides Apple Watches, but it's like the meditation. Oh, I'm stressed, watch, help me out, tap. And it's like, well, breathe in for 6 seconds. Like, is it helpful? Is it helpful to do those breathing exercises? Yes. Are people going to turn to their watch whenever they're feeling stressed out? No, I don't. I don't know anybody who does. And if you know anybody who does, please comment, because I want to know. I don't think it's going to happen. Also, while detailing this hearing protection gimmick, they felt the need to turn the whole big screen behind them black and plaster in white letters, and that's the only thing that was there. Apple does not save or record your audio, because, of all the privacy stuff going on and all that. But, yeah, it's interesting that they're like, well, you know what? People might get the wrong idea and think that we're saving their audio and blah, 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 blah. Because I know Google does, though you can tell them not to, but yeah, that's another story. Also, ladies, even though 95% of this audience on here is male, ladies, you can track your periods now natively. Ooh, and if it's fertile time, no sexy time for you. Or it's a good time for sexy time. Depends on what your goals are. There's like, Face ID is now 30% faster. So your twin that looks a lot like you can unlock your phone 30% faster than he could before. So now all it takes is a 30% more brief glance after you nab your family member or friend that looks just like you's phone. I unlocked it again. No, fingerprints are better. They just are. 50% smaller apps and 60% smaller app updates. Hopefully that'll help the download speeds for apps, because Google has that on lock and Apple has always sucked at it, comparatively speaking. They're like, hey guys, now you can swipe on your keyboard, And then us Android users are like, that's cool. Kind of like I've been doing since Android was a thing. Right? Nothing new. Next, they're like, now iOS has sharing suggestions. And I'm like, that's cool, bro, because, One UI has had that for a while. See? Right? Nothing new. There's so much that they're like, look at what we did. When, in typical Apple fashion, it's something that everybody else has had, particularly Samsung, for a long time. Samsung had it before they did, but with One UI, they can go kick a rock barefoot. Now Apple's like, hey guys, we've got Apple Street View. That's cool. Seen it. It's been done. Ain't nothing new. Now you can do sign in with Apple just the same way as you can sign in with Google or sign in with Facebook or continue with Google or Facebook. Although I did hear that it either strongly suggested or required for iOS app developers to put the sign in with Apple option above the other two, because customers are more likely to hit sign in with Apple instead of, because it's the first thing in the list of 3 or whatever. And they worded it in such a way to make it sound like super awesome, but really all they're doing is doing the same thing that Facebook and Google did. It's like you can use an existing account to create a new account for something else. That's all it is.
Ain't nothing new.
Memoji stickers. Memoji stickers. This is something that Samsung was doing right after Apple started using the stolen name of Animoji for their augmented reality blah 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 blah. And might I add, do you still use those? If you use an iPhone that's capable of doing that, do you send those little Animoji things still? Samsung's AR emoji used a picture of you and then created a CGI version that was slightly more cartoonish of you, and then created a group of emojis of you doing different things with that generated image. Same thing as Memojis, although ours came first. like usual.
Ain't nothing new.
And when they started talking about iPad OS, they're like, I can pin my widgets directly to my home screen. And really, it isn't even to the home screen. You have to like take the home screen and then swipe this way. There are your widgets. It doesn't take you to a whole separate panel. So it isn't even pinning them directly to the home screen like you could on an Android tablet where it's like, here's your home screen and then apps, bloop, weather widget or whatever you want. It's not even that. It's like this and then it's like it's like edge panels for the, S8, S9, S7 Edge, that kind of thing. And that feature isn't even present on their phones. So again, we still do it better. And then I could be hearing this wrong, but they just now enabled desktop version of the site options. I think it's actually automatic, to be fair. But on the iPad with Safari, it's like you're just now getting or incorporating the capability to display the desktop version of a website on your tablets? You didn't have that before? I think it's funny how they're like, everybody, we have custom fonts now for use in different apps where you can download from directly from the font makers and blah blah blah. Ain't nothing new. Also, good job, Apple. You learned how to shrink the keyboard like Samsung does and Google can. Ain't nothing new. Separate iCloud accounts for work and personal life stuff. That's cool and everything, but it still can't touch Samsung's secure folder. Not only, now iCloud is to Apple like Gmail accounts and Samsung accounts are to Samsung and Android, but with Samsung's secure folder, you can go in there and not only use a secondary, totally separate Gmail account, but you can also have access to a totally separate app store or separate instance of the Play Store to download apps and sign into them, even if you have those exact same ones signed in on a different account on your phone's regular storage space. That is not something that Apple can do, or Apple has done. They're not going to do that. Yeah, we have separate iCloud accounts, but this is like a separate partition on your phone's hard drive with secure folder with Samsung that, like it's like two phones in one, really, and one of them is lockable. While they were showing off their expensive Apple Pencil, they're like, we can capture the whole document. We can scroll through and mark up and blah, blah, blah. And all I'm thinking is scroll capture. From the, 3 years ago, at least? I know the Note 5 had it. Maybe the I don't think the S6 had it. I think they debuted with the Note 5. Correct me if I'm wrong. It could be the Note 4, but it's been around for a while where you can take a screenshot and then hit scroll capture and it goes down, capture more, and if that's all you need, then you can leave it. Or you can capture more. And you have one long screenshot that you can go in and be like, and then scroll up. We've had it. Ain't nothing new. And then they started like bragging about shared folders on iCloud Drive, and I'm like, no. Welcome to at least 2015. I've tried to look at what year shared folders became available on Google Drive, and I didn't really find a definitive answer, but it's been at least 2015. Like, welcome to 4 years ago. Looky here. Apple is now, it's crunching under the public demand for external storage. Now, it's non-integrated. They don't have an SD card slot or anything like that, but when you plug in a thumb drive, you can access you can access those files on the iPad, not the phone. Well, at least they didn't say anything about the phone. On the iPad, copy paste, blah, 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 blah. So it appears that consumer demand is finally catching up with their pompous arrogance. And they're like, okay, fine. Okay, we'll do it. And then we'll act like we're happy about it. Let's discuss the the Mac Pro. What really surprised me when they first announced this is after they ran through like the specs and everything that it had in it, they said, the quote is, other systems configured with comparable components cost around $8,000. Theirs starts, they say, there's the key word, it starts. They didn't say starts with the same thing that would equal $8,000. They just said starts, so that there might be some inconsistencies there. At $6,000. And after going through and looking at or seeing the capabilities that this has, particularly for video editing, I'm like, okay, those are some really nice things that it's able to do. Not that I would ever actually purchase it because number one, it's Apple, and number two, it's $6,000. And number three, actually, I don't know when I'll ever deal with 8K footage or get a camera capable of shooting 8K. Like, I'm not there yet. I don't know if I ever will be, but it's a very rare occurrence for Apple to say, we're cheaper than the other guys, because they can almost never say that. So what I would really like is, because I'm not a PC builder, I am not very knowledgeable about that. So I want people who are, because I know that there's a few of you out there who are, to, if you know that all the things, tell me, can you get something comparable for the same or cheaper? I'd love to know. So their Pro Display XDR. This is not high dynamic range. This is extreme dynamic range. So we're gonna call it XDR. I don't even know, was that something that whoever made I don't know, high dynamic range, that's an acronym really. So extreme dynamic range, I don't know, it just seemed kind of out of place. They're trying to be like, no, this is what this is. Although they did do the whole liquid retina display BS with the whole freaking, what was it? The XR. Yeah, it's $5,000. It's 6K resolution, and I don't know. It's not a consumer level product, and I guess what I'm doing right here would be considered consumer level stuff. So until I start making movies that require 8K footage and blah 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 blah, I'm not going to need that. It's any average person that gets one of these is going to be majorly overkilling whatever needs that they may have. I mean, they say that 4K is in some ways still overkill, and then you're going 6K. It doesn't make any sense for the average person. And even, again, I don't know anybody that produces content on a level at which the Mac Pro and the Pro Display XDR is necessary. So I don't really know. I mean, it's super expensive, duh. But the thing that was the most appalling to me is the stand price. And also, the audience found it appalling too. Listen to their reaction when they say how much the stand is. Check this out.
The VESA mount adapter will be $199, and the Pro stand $999. And like the Mac Pro, they'll all be available in the fall. So that.
No applause. And a bunch of oh my god. It made him stutter too. He was not expecting that reaction. Damn, dude.
The VESA mount adapter will be $199,
check it again.
And the Pro stand $999.
Right here, listen.
And like the Mac Pro, they'll all be available in the fall. So that.
They're not even ooh, it's all a bunch of, oh my what the hell? They were almost booing. It's crazy. Because, no, there are TV wall mounts that are designed to hold 50-inch televisions and be able to go into brick that are not $1,000. Get the f*** out of here with that bullshit, man. Oh my god, that's... And by the illustrations and the little animations that they showed, you have to get that little VESA mount for $200 in order to use that monitor on that $1,000 stand. I could be wrong about that, but everything that was indicated on screen, what they talked about, and the way they showed everything coming together, you need that extra $200 extra thing that clicks into the back of the monitor to then attach that to their overpriced piece of aluminum. Bullshit. Stupid. My god. Ugh. As is clearly indicated by all of the new to Apple but been around for freaking ever features that they were announcing during this keynote, Apple, anyone who sees this, all of this, and still says that Apple is leading in anything is mistaken, in my opinion. Because all they're doing is playing catch up. Yeah, there was a few things with AR that they showed, with Minecraft and everything. That was pretty sick. But they also showed those same things back when they announced the XS and the XR that year. Who's doing that now? How much have you heard of it since then? Like, have there been articles saying about how, oh, iPhone's AR is really taking off and like everybody's using this and it's amazing and this business decided to use AR for blah, 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 blah. None of that's happening. It's like Apple's 3D Touch. Yeah, it may have been a cool concept, but they just ditched it because nobody uses it. So like AR, I mean, yeah, it's cool, admittedly. Even I'll admit that. But the adoption rate, it just sucks. All the things like dark mode, that's cool, bro. Like, dark mode's been around for years, and Samsung had an official version on theirs with One UI long before all this happened. And this isn't even released yet. It's supposed to be in the fall, as they kept on mentioning throughout the keynote. Apple is not at the cause, they're at the effect. They are in reaction mode. Because if they weren't, then they would have had all this stuff. At around the same time, if not a little bit after, they came out with, or after Android came out with it. But Apple, it seems as though they were so stubborn for so long. No, we don't need this, and blah, blah, no, people don't care about that. Now, they're finally having to bend the knee to public demand and start employing features that they're either it could be explained a couple different ways. One could be like, well, we didn't think people needed this, and now because we're seeing our market share getting taken up more and more and more by Android phones, what do they have that we don't? The answer is a lot of stuff. And now they're finally starting to incorporate some of those things that people like about Android into iOS. And another thing could be just that they hadn't thought of it before, but that's impossible because obviously they've got to do, like any good company's got to do good research on their competitors. So, I mean, they had to have known about it. They had to have known about it. And now they're just now choosing to add it. And don't tell me that, oh yeah, they've been developing it for a long time. 10 years, man, 3 years, 4 years. Come on, it's swipe. You know what I mean? Dark mode. Ooh, like the guy reacted to it like someone was touching him in naughty ways. Oh, just beautiful. That's fantastic. It's a black background, man. It's pretty, yeah, but ain't nothing new. Those who might also find it to be a load of bollocks are the Scotties on Patreon, the ones that pledge $10 or more per month, and those are Yolanda Cibro Paracord Design, Joe Schmo, Jared Elder Studios, Derek D, Ian Lewis, Paul Donnelly, Mario Torres, Jatinder Lal, Anthony Jackson, Eric Price, Stephen Nichols, Nick Hawks, Sin O, Unit Omega, and Christopher Caswell.
BeamtUp. I stay with my Scotties. My Scotties are my boys. I ride with them. And I put that on the generation.
Next, we have the Super Beamers, the ones that pledge $5 a month, and those are Samsung 0804, Stephen Cameron, Colin House, Solar Star 81, Paradoxed, and Grant Stockton. And last but certainly not least, we have the Beamers, the ones that pledge $1 per month, and those are Encrypted Bunny, Vincent Papineau, Spidget, Jamie Ives, Roman Van Rookhuizen, Nicholas Clark, David Larson, Elixir, and Rico the 13th. Stay updated, because Apple is certainly having kind of a hard time of it, and stay beaming. Back in the fucking groove. No, like I'm getting it. And then life's boss will be like, I'm sorry, but you've thrown off the Emperor's groove. And then we'll throw life out the window. That's an unfortunate analogy, actually. Probably not the best one to use. Gotta get Dex going here on this monitor. Monitored. Monetary turd, yes. Monitored. God. Been so unmotivated. Like, the boot of life has been grinding my face into the dirt, and then there's the whole tonsillitis thing, so I was like, well, I can't talk without gagging, so now might not be the best time. Thanks to a little bit of doctor-prescribed steroids and medication, it's to the point where I can actually speak. So, Apple's WWDC, or as the guys like to call it, a dub. If you've seen it, you know what I'm talking about. Oh, wait. Oh, okay. Oh,
It was on the
don't
floor.
throw that. Yeah, that's actually probably a good thing to put in the trash can. That's great. But I'm like, no, we gotta roast this one. So, I've been vaped. It actually looks really good with the lights and everything. Like, it looks pretty pimpin'.
Oh, let's
Wow. Yeah, make it rain down.
Try it. Yeah.
Oh yeah, it looks pretty bad. It does. Oh, that's mine. Snap. Ah,
Texas in it's 49.
49 Texas.
Nope. Texas and it's 49.
What does that mean?
Figure it out.
Figure it out. Try and be like Pumpty Dumpty, right? That's funny. Jason's playing PUBG on his phone. I hear PUBG. He's not listening to me.